Hello, everyone. My name is Akal, and I am a somatic therapist as well as an astrological counselor. And I also help individuals with various issues that are related to their physical, emotional, sexual, and spiritual well being. So, with all that said, this video I wanted to kind of cover. It's more from, I guess, related to a counseling session that I did recently with a client who was confused about why he no longer was, I guess, desiring his partner. And what was interesting is our conversation was I guess it fell into the typical pattern initially, early in the conversation, of resentment, blame, and resentment. And it wasn't really clear as I'm listening to this person speak about who the real victim is here, right? So everyone wants to be the victim, because we're living in a time and an age in which the victim is exalted, for better or worse. So the interesting thing about this conversation is he kept saying, "Oh well, she's put on weight. She's not as sexy as she used to be. She had kids." I mean, it was a whole list of excuses, basically. And then, and I was like, all right. I hear your grievances, and I can honor those grievances. That's fine. But what's your responsibility? What is your piece in this relationship, in this particular dynamic? How is it? What is your part that you're playing, right? So I'm asking him, what is your part that you're playing in this relationship, and how is it that you are not making it any better? So, and he was like, what are you talking about? She's the one who put on the weight. And I'm like, no, sir. No, sir. You married this woman for better or worse. And again, so I asked him, I was like, is there a problem in terms of your guys' character? Is there a problem in terms of, like, do you love her? Is the bond strong? He's like, oh, yeah, that's all fine. It's just there's no sex anymore, right? And I know, like, relationships go through these kind of dynamics, particularly when children come into the picture. It, kind of makes it more difficult to be intimate and whatever. But I asked him, I was like, come on, fess up to me. What are you doing? What is your part? What are the part you're playing? Like, and he's like, what do you mean? And I says, how often are you masturbating? He's like, what's that have to do with it? Has everything to do with it. And I says, you aren't cheating, right? He's like, no. I was like, okay, that's good. You're not cheating, because that will intensify the resentment, certainly. So I was like, all right, now the masturbation question is entirely relevant. So I said, okay, let me reframe that a little bit, because he'd watched a number of my videos and he knows that I'm not anti-self-pleasure. I'm certainly not anti-masturbation. I'm not anti any of those things, but I'm very pro understanding and making choices about what to do with your sexual energy. That's fundamental and basic. Energy in, energy out. I mean, it's basically like eating, you know what I mean? Where it's like you eat and you expect to get some sort of energy from that food. That is why you have hunger, right? It's so we can extract the nutrients from the food for structural integrity, for energy, for whatever the reasons are, right? So sexual energy is very much like that. It is energy that the man in particular has a choice about, although we don't condition ourselves to have that choice. So oftentimes, and I say this all the time, from the age of 13, we start discharging all the damn time, and it simply becomes a pattern. So I asked him, okay, how often are you discharging or ejaculating? He's like, oh, just once or twice a week. And I was like, okay, you don't think that's meaningful? He's like, well, no. He's like, I need pleasure and she's not giving it to me. Blame, victim. So I just asked him one more time, what do you think would happen if you didn't release? And he's like, wow. He's like, I hadn't really even thought about that. He's like, I would probably be horny all the time. I'm like, oh, yeah, you get it, right? He's like, I don't like feeling horny. It distracts me. So 2 issues. He's uncomfortable being horny. That's like you being uncomfortable being hungry. That's like you being uncomfortable being thirsty. The difference is horny, being that particular drive isn't essential for your existence on this planet, right? Like, you have to drink water. You have to eat something eventually. Although I know people who have fasted for 90 days and been just fine. So I guess the question here is for him was, now the horny thing, it is a signal that is loud. It is a signal that he has to be comfortable with. And I asked him, why are you uncomfortable with horny? He's like, because it makes me anxious, it distracts me, and it creates a lot of pressure, and I don't know what to do with myself, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure a lot of you gentlemen who are watching this video can relate. So I said, so I walked him through a practice, and I've done videos on this in the past, how to embody horny. How to be okay just feeling it and sensing it and imbibing it and like letting it simmer in your being, because it's wonderful. It's rich, it's ripe, and most of all, the horny feeling is sexual energy, which is foundational. It is foundational. It is the base, so to speak, the base of the pyramid that holds up the rest of the pyramid. It is like the pillars of the house that hold up the house, So sexual energy is a basic creative drive and a force in every human being's life. So, women go through a cycle, and this energy is released once a month through their menstruation and whatever. Now, men, we discharge it all the damn time. So the question is are you optimal? That's what I asked him. He's like, no, well, obviously I'm not optimal. My marriage is upset. Again, nothing to do with your marriage. Nothing to do with your marriage. And your marriage is messed up because of you. Sorry. If you're having relationship problems, it's you. I mean, in this particular case, it's you. If you don't desire your partner, it's you. Don't blame the other person. Unless they're absolutely a despicable human being, and then in that case, I get it. But in this particular case, if you were discharging horny all the time, think about it, guys. Pre-cum, post-cum. Are you the same person? Think about it. I always use the term buyer's remorse. Many of us have like some kinky, exciting fantasy, and if we engage it, we're all excitable in that moment before we come. After we come, after we ejaculate, then what happens? You're like, ooh, what did I just do? Right? Buyer's remorse. So here's the secret. This is what I told him, and this is what I'm going to tell you guys, just to keep this video brief. Maintain the desire. Don't release it. Touch her or him every single day. Touch them. There's a system, I believe it's originally from Iran. It's called Kariza. And Kariza in this system says, no, you don't have sex all the time. You engage in touch. You engage in touch. And you maintain your desire. In other words, don't ejaculate. You want to feel that pull. Desire is magnetic. Well, in a man's case, it's very electric. But the woman or the other person you're desiring, they're like a magnet. They will pull you into them. Take advantage of this. This is called bonding. This is called knitting and suturing the relationship and the couple dynamic. This is when two eyes can come together in this sort of merge and become like a we, and you cease to live in the same house as roommates, and you become mates. So I guess my suggestion here is if you maintain that desire, and again, this idea of Kariza that I kind of alluded to earlier, what Kariza basically is you get naked every day, or as much as frequently as you can, and you touch your partner, and you have your partner touch you, and that's it. You always are holding in that rich, horny feeling. And then maybe like once a week, you have sex, or twice a week, or whatever you choose. But again, keep in mind, the moment you ejaculate, you're going to lose interest. This is just how it goes. And the thing is, if you ejaculate repetitively and repeatedly, I'm redundant there, sorry. But if you ejaculate all the time, you are conditioning your nervous system, your endocrine system, to not have desire for the person you are with. And all of a sudden, everything else seems more attractive because it's exciting and new. So hopefully some of this kind of resonates with you. And yeah, and I don't mean to be so direct, but I do mean to be so direct. And I hopefully, like I said, you can take some of this knowledge and this information, you can cultivate your relationships, and you can create deep, deep, loving, lasting bonds, because we need that more than anything in this world at this moment. We need true unity, true connection, in the expression of love between couples and for ourselves. So with all that said, thank you much. Appreciate you watching.